Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I don't use matte glitters often, but these ones are just gorgeous and I can't wait to give them a try. So West Coast Dips has this new Boomer collection and these are some of the colors that are sent to me. There are more in the collection, but I absolutely love these because they're smaller glitters, which makes them really easy to use. But let me go ahead and show you the colors really quick before I get into a mani. For today's mani, I'm going to be using Vera from the Boomer collection, and I'm going to pair that with Meadow, which is a solid purple. I actually had the teal set aside, and I was just about to use them for a mani, but I just couldn't help myself, and I'm sure you're not surprised, but the purples were calling my name. I'll also be using the West Coast Dips dip liquids for this mani, and if you're looking for a new brand to try, I would highly recommend the West Coast Dips dip liquids because they're super easy to use and the top coat is so shiny. You may have seen it on the thumbnail, you'll see it at the end as well. But I would say for the dip base, it's a thinner consistency. It's about a medium dry time. It doesn't flood my cuticles. It's just super easy to use. I don't feel like it has a super strong odor. Obviously, if you suffer from dip flu, you still want to be a little bit careful. I only get dip flu occasionally, and that's mainly from overexposure. So I wouldn't say, this is your answer if you have dip flu, but I would just say it's, to me at least, lower odor. So anyway, back to what I'm doing. So I'm using Meadow, and I always like to start with my solids first whenever I'm working with multiple types of glitters. So Meadow is going to go on my middle finger, ring finger, and I believe thumb as well. So I'm going to do 2 dips of Meadow. I'm going to cap it in clear, activate, and then I will go into Vera, but we'll talk about that when we get into Vera. I think it may not matter as much because Vera is a matte glitter, so I always do my solids first, cap and clear and activate, and then go into my glitters because I don't want my solid to be contaminated by my glitters. But it may not be as much of a problem with the matte glitters, but I just want to stick to my normal process. I'm going to do 2 dips of Meadow on my middle ring and thumb, but I'm only going to show you one. I'll do the second one off camera just because it gets a little bit repetitive, but just want to let you know that I'm going to do 2 dips total of that. So I applied a thin even layer of dip base to my entire nail. I'm dipping into Meadow, which, by the way, how beautiful is this purple? This shade of purple is probably like my favorite. I love a good lavender, and this one is beautiful. And you see how beautifully it applies. It's not patchy, it's not splotchy, it's not chalky. It is just gorgeous. And I'm just doing one additional dip just to make sure all the dip base is dry before I dust off. So I went ahead and did that second coat off camera. So now I'm going to go ahead and cap that in clear. So I'm using the West Coast Dips Crystal Clear. I've never had an issue with the West Coast Dips Clear. It's ultra clear, but if you struggle with getting your clear really clear, if it's grainy, bubbly, a couple tips that may help you out is you want to ensure that you have a generous amount of dip base because sometimes it can get grainy and cloudy if it doesn't have enough dip base to absorb into. So I always go a little more extra with my dip base whenever I'm doing clear. So you can see here it looks a little bit wet, and that's okay because I want to make sure that it's fully absorbed in that base. Sometimes, I know it's not a good habit, but sometimes I will dip again just to absorb a little bit more, but you really don't have to. You could just wait for it to dry. And then once it is fully dry, make sure you are scrubbing off that clear with a stiff scrub brush. It could be a toothbrush, a stiff nail brush, whatever you do, but you want to scrub it to get off any of that excess clear. That will also help with any graininess or cloudiness because sometimes it's that excess clear that can cause you issues. Now that I have my solid nails activated, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Vera, which is just such a unique glitter. All of the glitters in the Boomer collection are like this, and they're just so cool. So to me, I'm calling them matte glitters. They look like matte glitters to me. On the website, they actually call them pearl glitters. So I don't really know, but you know, obviously West Coast Dips knows better because they're the creator. But either way, they're super beautiful. They're so easy to work with. So they're smaller hex glitters, like they're really small. And then they also have like these little tiny dots of white and lavender glitters that are really great fillers. So it's super easy to use. I just, you know, want to make sure that after you dip, you want to make sure that they're laying down flat. So I'm just using my finger and I'm pressing them down because I don't want to risk filing through them. You could also put a baggie on your finger if you don't want to risk getting dip base or glitter stuck to your skin. You could use a baggie as well, but I just always use my finger just out of sheer laziness. For these, I'm not doing my normal chunky glitter method, like I'm not pouring over for the first layer. So you can see instead of dipping, I'm kind of laying my finger into it. And you can see I got pretty good coverage on my first layer. Like depending on the type of coverage you want, you could probably stop at one layer if you're good with that. Just out of habit, I'm doing my 2 normal layers, but definitely good coverage with these glitters. I went ahead and capped and clear, activated and filed and buffed off camera. So here's how we're looking. So now we're going to get into dip top coat. Although it was kind of a tough choice because I really love the look of Meadow matte. Like it kind of looks velvety, but I did decide to make it glossy and do dip top coat. So for my dip top coat, I'm going to apply one final layer of activator to all my nails. It's just going to be one layer. You don't have to be generous with it because you don't want too much, but you do need that activator to dry your top coat and harden it. So once I've got my once I've got my activator on all 5 nails, I'm going to wait a full 2 minutes. Once 2 minutes has passed, I'm going to take my lint-free wipe and wipe off my nails just to remove any excess activator. If there is excess activator on your nail, it could harden your dip top coat brush, so you want to be really careful. Whatever you use, just make sure that it's lint free, because the last thing you want to do is have lint in your top coat. So what I'm going to do for my top coat is, for the first layer, I'm going to do 2 to 3 really quick swipes on each nail. I'm going to wipe it on my lint free wipe, this is a different one, before I return it to my bottle. And that way, if there's any activator on my brush, I'm removing it before I return my brush to my bottle, because you can contaminate your whole bottle if you put it back in the bottle and there's activator on your brush. So once I've got all 5 nails done, I'm ready to go in with my second coat. And that's when I can take my time, make sure my nail is fully covered. You want to make sure you're capping your free edge as well. That's going to help with longevity of your mani. And then you probably want to wait about 2 to 3 minutes. This is pretty quick, before your dip top coat is fully dry. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles, and today I'm using Scales of a Mermaid Cuticle Balm in the scent Grown From Nothing, which is one of her new releases. And yes, I bought every single one of her new releases because I just can't help myself, because I love her products. But I am finding, so she's got 2 different sizes of the cuticle balm. So there's a smaller tube and this is the larger one. I don't know why, maybe it's all in my head, but I think I prefer the smaller tubes because I feel like they're softer, but that may all be in my head. I do like the larger ones because I get more of them though. So anyway, here we are with the finished look. What do you think? I don't know what it is about Vera, but I am obsessed with it. The combination of the lavender matte glitters with the white matte glitters, it kind of give off like a silverish look to me, and I absolutely love it. The whole Boomer collection is just so unique. I love the circle matte glitters. So I'm curious, have you tried matte glitters before? What do you think of them? Because I feel like they're kind of counterintuitive, because when I think of glitter, I think of like sparkly. But anyway, that's completely beside the point. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.